Hello everybody, it's Wolfgang for Wolverine Supplies here, and today I would like to talk about best quality optics. Schmidt and Bender in particular, for all those long range shooters and of course for the hunters as well. So, Schmidt and Bender has been manufacturing high-end top quality scopes since 1957. It's a family owned business and they pride themselves in manufacturing to precise tolerances the best quality optics available. So why would you want to spend that kind of money on a top quality optics? What makes it a top quality optic? Well, of course it's always about the lenses. The lenses are precision ground, allowing a light transmission of the highest transmission, I suppose, and the clarity of the lenses all the way to the edges. Now, if you talk about light transmission, it's actually quite simple to understand. We have your lens, and during the daylight hours, there's a lot of light. So there's a lot of light coming in, and if some gets reflected, doesn't matter, a lot of light still goes through. Now, when you come to the twilight or twilight early morning, later in the night, you have the same lens, but you only have a limited amount of light entering. And there's always light being reflected by the lens, which does not go into the scope. So then you have a reflection here, and all of a sudden, you have a limited amount of light going through. And that, on Schmidt and Bender and other high-end optics, it allows more light transmission to go through the scope and less reflection. So to make those lenses do that, it is quite difficult and have to use the most top quality material available to you. Now, when we talk about clarity of the lens you will look through. Most lenses are very clear on the inside here. You can see everything sharp. Now, it degrades the outside because of the curvature of the lens. Now, Schmidt and Bender prides itself on being able to get a full, clear view of the lens. That again is difficult to achieve, and that is why high-end optics are high-end optics. Now, the other thing about high-end optics is, if you bear with me for a second, alright, then the other thing is about the construction and the mechanics within the scope itself. On a tactical or long-range type of scope, you'd want to be able to do the adjustments for elevation, for windage, and then return to your original settings and be right on again. Which means, in other words, you're shooting at, let's say at 100 meters, you have 100 meter zero, got it all dialed in, perfect. Your target is at 500 meters, you go up 26 clicks, engage the target, and then you want to return to 100 meters, so you bring it back down to your setting for 100 meters. Now, with precision mechanics, at 100 meter, you want to be able to bring that scope back down just using your elevation clicks and be right on again at 100 meters. Not a couple inches this way, a couple inches that way. No, precision mechanics means once you bring it back down again to 100 meter zero, you are exactly where you left off. That is precision mechanics. Now, there are, on the Schmidt and Bender line, there are many different reticle options, as you will see in a second here. They include a variety of their own reticles, and as well as Horus reticles, so there's quite a large number of those available to you. As you can see, they also come in different colors. This one is in RAL 8000, which is a tan color, and black and whatnot. Now, there are different turret styles here that we're going to look at. Originally we had the double turn turret, which means that you can turn the elevation turret around twice in order to get the full adjustment out of the scope, and with a precision increments in between. So on the double turn turret, when you have your adjustments on the first turn, once you hit the second turn, you will see that a yellow appears in the window here, indicating to the shooter that you're now in the second rotation and therefore have reached that that distance with it. Of course, illuminated reticle here. Windage adjustments as well. Precise click adjustments for that. And this particular scope is a 5 to 25, so 5 to 25 magnification with a 56mm objective and a 34mm tube. Now, why does Schmidt and Bender use a 34mm tube? It is, as described earlier, for light transmission. Also, it gives you more room for the reticle, which is actually edged on a lens, to have movement up and down and allow greater range of adjustment. The bigger the tube, the more room you have to mechanically move the reticle up and down. On the MTC, more tactile clicks, this turret here is the MTC LT, which means it's locking. Therefore, if you slide this ring down, you'll be able to see here, if you slide down, it cannot be turned. So there's no accidental adjustment of your settings. If you just want to adjust for greater distances or whatever, you can just slide it up and turn it. Now, in order to zero this particular scope, and that is sometimes a mistake that's often made, there are 3 screws. Once you do the slide the lock down, there will be 3 screws exposed, 2 Allen screws and 1 flat screw. Now, don't undo this flat screw. This flat screw here keeps the turret onto the stem. If you undo that, this turret will pop off. There's detents in there, 2 detents, they'll misalign themselves. So, don't undo that one. These are your zeroing screws. Allen screw here and here. You undo those, you move it to the unlock position, you slide it into zero. Once you have actually zeroed your rifle, move that lock back down and tighten those 2 up. And that's all there is to it, that. Now, let's talk a little bit about, we talked about the adjustment range within a scope to adjust for windage and elevation, particularly elevation at the greater distances. Every scope, basically if you look at your scope tube, there's only so much room that your reticle can move up and down. Now, with a 34mm tube, you have more room to be able to accomplish that. Now, in true long distance shooting, and I'm just going to bring that up, you have so much room available within the tube to adjust. So what you want to do is already use some mechanical declination in your mounts or scope mounts or in your base. Because you have your line of sight, is straight. Your projectile out of your rifle falls under the gravity and therefore has a trajectory. Now, eventually, if this was parallel, you run out of adjustment here. So, a declination into your mounts or in your scope base is a great idea, because now you have your scope already pointing downwards, following the trajectory of your projectile. Therefore, freeing up a large adjustment range within the scope itself. Now, there's different thoughts about how much declination. It's usually in MOAs, in the minute of angles. And generally, I find that a 45 MOA declination within the scope in a 338, like this accuracy rifle, is the best. You will probably not get 100 meter zero, more like a 200 or 300 meter, but you will be able to use that scope out to 16 to 1800 meters without having to use any holdover or any of the other hash marks that help you in that. So that's a little bit on the forward declination and scope mounting. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my little clip on Schmidt and Bender scopes, and I would like to thank Andrea, our camera person, for doing such a great job with us all. And that's it for me today and auf Wiedersehen.